a career-high 16 kills in that matchup against the Pioneers.
We are underway. First touch to Fung, set a little bit behind Quinn Bishop. To the pin and into the block. That's an early point for Harvard. Fung goes tumbling, but that is the thing that Harvard does best, and Kai Gann, your setter, was in there along with Wolbert.
Indeed, it was Wolbert, and we talked about him earlier. He leads this team 68 blocks this season, just under 1 per set. Had a career high versus AIC back on March 6th. He combines with Kai Gann, freshman and junior combined.
Twice. Took George Mason to 5 its last time out. George Mason right now the second best team in the league. That ball was overpassed. And that'll be a point for Harvard to make it 3-0 here early.
And that matchup versus George Mason this past Saturday for Princeton, it was real close. It went down to the wire in that 5th set. George Mason winning by the slimmest of margins, 15-13 in set number 5. Really could have gone either way, but it's going to be a huge loss looking back at it if Princeton is unable to get the job done today.
And Harvard actually most recently played George Mason as well. There's an ace for Harvard.
Quinn Bishop, ace number 24 this season. We talked about he is number 3 in the EIVA in service aces per set, 0.35 aces per set, and he is very lethal when serving it.
The 3rd year out of Jupiter, Florida. Free ball. Good dump by Gann. Wolbert was up and ready, wanted to be set back in the middle, but the setter liked his opening, and he attacks for his 19th kill of the year.
It is just all Harvard to start this first set. Princeton looking a little bit out of system right here. You see the dig by Ryan Vina, and you see all those black jerseys just on the left side. They're unable to get situated. Ron Alvear with a solid attempt with the dig, just couldn't stop it defensively.
To the pin, into the block, really good up. And Zach Birdie gets the over to keep it alive. Back set, into the block, off the tape. Again, good coverage by Princeton's Werner. Tough pass. Werner got a good swing on it. Gann got there. Birdie the roll. Set by the Libero. Vina on the right side and his terminal to make it 5-1. It's 6-0 Harvard. Outside, off the block. Out of system set, back row attack. Good save by Bishop. And a free ball, good spot. And trying to flick it off the tool, that is a point for Andrew Werner on the outside. And now the first kill for the Princeton Tigers.
Kai Gann's been really active on the front line for the Harvard Crimson, primarily a setter. Him and Adrian Shevchuk have been splitting some time here. Able to get a hand on it, and he's been real good defensively so far in this one, just unable to keep it inside the boundary.
Dan out to Birdie, 4-year key contributor, playing on his senior weekend, and Wolbert. And just generally speaking, your offense is going to run more efficiently, but Wolbert has been able to take advantage of it. Good pass right to Gann. He'll go to the pin, and Birdie is blocked out of bounds. So with the tool, that is the first kill for Zach Birdie in tonight's game, make it 8-2.
Just seems like not a lot of structure by Princeton, offensively and defensively. They're just trying to get hands on it any way they can, but they have not been able to get settled into this game.
Middle attack, heavy swing for Ethan Wells, the sophomore. Try to force Princeton into an offensive tough spot. The answer is no. Back set. Big up. Fung. Bump set sliding. And then into the block. Well, the set looked cool. The block for Princeton was better. And it's 9-4.
That's Tristan Whitfield, 4th in the EIVA in blocks per set. He leads the team. That's now 71 total this season. He is one of the very few in the conference averaging over 1 total block per set.
Service error last time. This time Princeton gets it in. Back set for Sawyer Nichols. Injured in the last series, back to Nichols again, stays alive. Do we go Nichols a 3rd time? No, to the middle. Brian Thomas, who's been dealing with an ailing back, gets the go this weekend, and the senior 7-footer connects for a 10th point.
He missed both games versus Sacred Heart the last weekend of March. He only played Friday night at George Mason, but he only played one set. And then he missed Saturday's game versus George Mason, getting back into the thick of things with that kill.
Wilbert with a block touch. He didn't get good enough penetration. Princeton makes it 10-5.
Princeton so far not exactly the most efficient team offensively. Got that now 3 kills on 2 errors, just over a 0 hitting percentage.
Good runway and a tremendous effort by Alvear. But the libero could not get there. Had to make an adjustment late. Harvard with 4 kills on, 5 kills on 14 swings.
Alvear was about 3 inches taller. He definitely would have gotten that one. He's sitting at 5'9" right now. He's very quick, very active.
If he was 3 inches taller, he'd be a hitter. Has been an issue. Pass and serve has been an issue for Princeton at times this season. That's a tough ball. Out of system set. Bishop pokes it over. And it'll turn into a point for Harvard, make it 13-6.
Look, and it takes a little bit of time to really get situated and comfortable with each other out on the floor.
Unironically, a service error. And then a swing just a little bit long for Ethan Wells out of the middle. He's hitting .439, which as a middle, you want to hit a higher percentage, but .439 is insanity.
Not even the most efficient middle on the team. It's Tristan Whitfield, who's hitting .457.
And in more opportunities, too. Wolbert, that might have gone out, but tough spot. Princeton had to play it, and that indeed, no, that found the corner. Good pocket to pick by Andrew Werner.
I don't know how this found the corner. It was a real close call, but obviously the line judges have a much better view than we do. Take a look at this right here. Right down the line. It looked like it was going, missing the near side. It just finds the corner.
We don't have a view. So.
We do not have a view at all.
Going down to get it. Gann, birdie, tip. On the move, the set out of system. That's Owen Mellon. We haven't called his name a ton since the start. Senior out of Oakville, Ontario, Canada. The biggest weapon. That's the biggest weapon for Harvard, and Zach Birdie. His second kill. He's taken the most swings tonight. That makes sense on the outside. 7 balls set for him.
2025 all EIVA honorable mention. He's got 10 or more kills in 3 of his last 4. Unfortunately, efficiency has been a little bit of a problem, especially last weekend. He had 14 attacking errors across both matches. He was sub 100 in terms of hitting percentage in both matches against George Mason. He's hitting 140 this year. It's his career worst hitting percentage in a season. Each of the past 3 years, he's been over 200.
Gann behind him for birdie. Popped up by Vina. Wells the first touch. Into the middle. And just trying to keep it alive. Sawyer Nichols got caught between a rock and a hard place. It is 16-10 as Princeton tries to make a late charge. A little bit more breathing room than what Harvard had in its first set last time out. Got swept by George Mason, but lost the opening set 32-30. And it had the chance, and this is where you kick yourself. Thomas is up to by Vina. Good job to go get it, and then Vina out of the back row.
Did he just give the ref a high five there? It looked like he was kind of stumbling backwards towards the scores table, and the official kind of, I don't want to say helped him up, but made sure he stayed out of a dangerous situation, tumbling backwards towards the review monitor there.
My man number 4 in black is a middle blocker by trade. Just attacked out of the back. Starting on the pin over the last couple of matches.
Last 2 weekends, they're now at 8-2. NJIT and then George Mason kind of fighting for that number 2 seed, but to get that 4 seed, it is still anyone's game to host a quarterfinal matchup. Charleston is no longer playing games in the regular season. Their regular season's done. They're sitting at 4-8. Sacred Heart and Harvard each at 3-7. Princeton now at 1-9. So I mentioned earlier, Harvard, if they're able to win both, and Sacred Heart is up against NJIT this weekend, they could very well lose both. That would put Harvard in the 4 seed, hosting a quarterfinal game here in the Malkin Athletic Center.
Mellon had the kill, his first of the day. Tip drill. Back row attack, just over the shoulder of Gann. Angled right at the setter, trying to force him to play some defense. And it makes it 17-13.
It was Vina with the dig, able to just pop it up. Eventually, over the course of the play, Andrew Werner finishes it with a nice drive right over the shoulder.
That's one of the things that Sam Schweisky told us. Listen, we're confident in our block. We have good middles. But we got to be able to pass and give ourselves a chance. Harvard is in the same boat. Good middles, good blocks, good direction. Can they pass and score in transition? Here they are at a serve receive. And up in the back row off of Werner's own.
Even if you're able to just get some power on those attacks on the outside, like we just saw from Sawyer Nichols, trying to get some tools, trying to throw the defense into disarray, out of system for the Tigers. Sawyer Nichols does just that, unable to get a clean block on the outside by Princeton, and it results in another point for the Crimson.
Thomas serving for the third time in the set. Long way to go for Kelly, and into the stuff. Vina able to tool. Makes it 18-14, and don't look now. Princeton has closed this to a 4-point gap.
Seems like in the blink of an eye, they've closed it to a really interesting first set. Vina now with his second kill off the tool, slams it home on the outside.
Gann pushes pin, Bishop upped by Kelly, so Alviar's your setter. Werner into the block. Back to him, and he missed.
For the Tigers.
The serve for Mellon. Back set. Nichols. Feed your big horse. He had 27 kills the last weekend he played. And you can see the fluidity, the athleticism in the way that 6'9" sophomore gets off the floor.
That looked almost too easy for Sawyer Nichols. He just found the lane right past Owen Mellon. Another one of those names we really haven't called a lot today, but he made that look real easy.
Wolbert thought he had the block. Awesome saving dig. Wolbert started to celebrate. Birdie out of the back row. Terminal. Do you defend a Coach of the Year title?
Could, I feel like.
Do you fight for that?
Definitely a point of, I want to say a point of emphasis, but you know, who wouldn't want to go back to back?
Bishop down the side. Here in April.
I think it's familiarity. It's you know what you're coming into when whether it's your first game in a while coming back from injury, in the case of Sawyer Nichols or Brian Thomas, or if you're a freshman playing almost for the first time. They got a couple of freshmen on this team who haven't gotten a lot of playing time, guys like Oliver Doty, Eric Sue, Julian Hong.
The back row attack for Birdie. That'll give him now 4 kills. That leads the way for Harvard.
You're able to step in and know what you're getting in your setter with Kai Gann. It goes a long way.
Bishop has been the best server for Harvard in this opening set. Good block touch. Clear out for Gann. Push to the pin. Birdie now playing on the outside, rotating forward. Back set, Werner. Blocked. Good coverage. Feed Werner again. Tip drill from the outside. Good set by Fung into Birdie. Quick check, looking for the middle. No, it's a back row attack. Wolbert was caught one-on-one. Harvard has been able to pass quite effectively at this juncture, hitting almost 400. Tough first ball. Out of system. Good flick. Something out of absolutely nothing. Birdie into a block. Did he tool it? Yeah, he did. Werner is what the Princeton bench is cheering. That is his name. And that is an error. So 25-18 is the final score of our opening set.
It's very jarring to see the difference in programs from West Coast to East Coast, and obviously East Coast men's volleyball, a growing sport in this area of the country, but West Coast teams. That's about as textbook as you can ask for from Brian Bays and the Harvard Crimson. And we talked about how clean the middle attacking has been, especially with Owen Wolbert and Kai Gann, and you cannot have drew that up any better. Owen Wolbert with some power behind it.
Back row attack and an answer. Just unleashing some howitzers here to start the second set. That was Ryan Vina.
Ryan Vina had a little bit of a personal vendetta against that ball, because there is no way a man should be able to hit this that hard right off the chest of Sawyer Nichols. I'm surprised he didn't go flying backward after taking that impact.
Little popcorn float of a serve and another set for Wilbur. Harvard passing serve really well. It's one of the strengths of the team, one of the strengths of the program historically. Getting that really good first touch. And that is if it's Fung or anybody else, whoever Princeton wants to pick on.
Both teams just trading attacks over the middle.
In transition, Harvard at the net, Gann. To the pin, heavy swing. Owen Mellon. Senior from Oakville, Ontario, Canada. Season high of 25 kills. He did that against Dominican. Can be high error, but that guy has earned his stripes. He's back to serve.
Speaking of Oakville, they were able to take a trip up to Oakville for a couple of exhibition matchups against some Canadian teams.
Oh, nice up by Alvear. Just stuck his left hand out. And a middle attack kill, Ethan Wells. That is a middle being active and earning it.
Both teams just really exploiting the middle of the floor, and it's Ethan Wells off the great pass from Nolan Kelly right in his wheelhouse. He makes no mistake.
Float serve just caught the tape. Gann behind him. Olbert going behind the setter, I think for the first time tonight. Way out to the pin. Block wasn't there. Easy kill.
They were able to get the one-on-one matchup. It was Mellon up against Kai Gann on the outside pin, and that's just easy pickings for a guy like Owen Mellon.
So Princeton rebounding nicely. Had a little 7-2 run over the middle of the first set, but then Harvard regrouped. Nice coverage. That could have been a free ball. No. Mellon's getting heavy swings.
We've got 3 kills in this set alone for Owen Mellon, and Princeton looks a lot more structured and coordinated in this second set, fighting through the double block of Wolbert and Kai Gann, just able to avoid them completely and find an open spot for the kill.
One armed up. This has to go over. Sometimes you just want to live to see another opportunity, although Mellon liked what he saw with an opening in the back row.
He definitely had an opening there on that back row, but just a little bit too much oomph on it. I think if he put it a little bit less, it would have allowed Harvard to recover, but closes the gap to just 2 for the Crimson.
And the middle blocker goes back to serve for Harvard, Owen Wolbert. First set was very good to him. 3 kills, 1 block. He did have 2 mistakes back here. This one in. Alvear the first touch, and Vina the last. He wanted a touch by Princeton, then beat American International. They won 9 out of 10 sets. Then Sevchik gets hurt. And Sawyer Nichols misses wide.
Shevchuk had a stretch of 3 consecutive games that he played in with 32 assists each, including games against Merrimack and one of the top teams in the nation, the BYU Cougars, back in the Harvard Invitational in early February.
Gann has really found his footing. And Sevchuk will be back next year, so Harvard will have a couple of offensive quarterbacks. Vina bumped. Now Fung out to Birdie. Tools.
Definitely going to be a fun competition to see, a friendly competition, of course, between Shevchuk and Kai Gann, who's going to earn that starting setter spot.
Well, they might play them both, too.
Indeed, but solid kill here by Zach Birdie, just fighting through the triple block of Princeton.
Boy, when Princeton can get it to Ethan Wells, we have seen some dramatic swings, honestly, from both teams, out of the middle through a set and a half.
It has been Ethan Wells over the middle, and in the second set, Owen Mellon getting involved as well, but Ethan Wells with a whole lot of mustard right over the middle, just smothering it on.
Can't do it anymore, though. Into the back row to serve. Gann, right back to Thomas. Anything you can do, I can also do.
I'm sure the Crimson are very glad to have Brian Thomas back. 333 hitting this season, and just an absolute laser beam right to the kneecaps of Nolan Kelly. He had no chance.
We're just firing down the Bic right now. Up for Kelly. Out of system set. Kelly gets there. Push it for Bishop. Did he miss wide? Yeah.
The outside offense that has been the struggle of both sides. It's definitely been over the middle that have given both these teams success in the first and now second sets. Offensively, they just seem to be missing their mark just a tad. They're trying to force it into these open areas, and they're just maybe a little bit too antsy to get that point on the outside.
Sometimes as a pin hitter, it is best to recycle and live to see another opportunity. In the middle, you take those heavy swings. Good job by Thomas, knowing that ball had hit him to stay out. Double block. Thomas closed the door.
Thomas and Sawyer Nichols both combining. When you got a guy who's 6'9" and a guy who's 7 foot just standing up in front of you, it's going to be real tough to fight through him. Take another look at this right here. It was just a little bit after the fact, but you see the height by Sawyer Nichols after that huge block, cutting it down to 2.
Tight ball. That's swatted back to New Jersey.
A little bit too antsy there. That was, I believe, over the top. That was Tristan Whitfield. Just a little bit too early on the jump and the swing.
Not exactly the pass serve that Princeton would like. We'll try and transition. Found that corner. Sorry.
To be able to start in high school and win EIVA Freshman of the Year honors in 2024. What a mustard. I've seen pickle juice. I've seen mustard. I've seen some honey packets even. That's more our forte, honey packets. Have those long days of double headers. Sometimes the throat needs a honey packet or two.
Out to the pin, big heavy swing again. Well, the timeout doesn't work for Harvard. Princeton now +5. Whitfield stays on a nice run.
Able to fight through a triple block right through Owen Wolbert, and Princeton has just been getting the better of their offensive opportunities, making the most of them.
Harvard is able to put a stop to the run.
Go right through, you see just right off the tip of the left hand. I believe that was Nolan Kelly looking for that block.
Long way to go to get there. Credit the effort for Wolbert to try to get there.
The hustle by Quinn Bishop, backtracking, able to just throw it over his head. Nichols was just unable, I believe, actually Wolbert, unable to just, tough position for him. It was right up the netting, couldn't keep it in play. And Princeton with one of their largest leads here in this second set.
Thomas Fung becomes the designated towel man.
I feel like it's usually the libero who's on towel duty for most of the game. How do they determine?
Draw straws.
Rock, paper, scissors tournament?
Kelly's in the back row. So you got 3 options. That was a good spur of the moment decision. Birdie got jousted. Princeton read the tip coming And it is all Tigers here in the second.
He lost the battle. Ryan Vina was in the vicinity, as was Andrew Werner, and Birdie was just unable to win that battle at the net.
You've got Vina on the right side. You've got Mellon on the outside. And then a middle blocker as well. Ethan Wells. They took Penn State to 5 back in February. He actually got reverse swept. So I guess they got taken to 5 by Penn State back in February.
All about perspective.
Birdie. Good middle set. Good reaction by Wolbert. And a kill regardless. Owen Mellon. My man's got 7 kills, no errors. He's batting .500.
He originally went over the middle. It was a good block by Wolbert, but a quick transition, a quick flip of the script by the Princeton Tigers. They go to the outside, and Owen Mellon able to get the swing before the double block and get established. And Princeton now with an 8-point lead.
After a 25-18 Harvard win in the opening set, Birdie's getting fed a ton. Kai Gann pushing it out to his 4-year starter.
As Birdie's 20th attack in this matchup. That's now his 7th kill. Just 1 error, so hitting 300 in this one.
He's going to swing 50 times tonight at this rate. Middle. Nope, over top. And Vina caught an arm.
I think Harvard was thinking the same thing you were, Joel. They were thinking middle. They go to the outside for Vina, and Quinn Bishop was just thrown into all sorts of a blender here.
There's a couple things that just happened right there. Part of it is the sell job by Ethan Wells. But the other piece of it is that Princeton has been so effective across the front row right now. And the rotation, you've got the setter in the back row. Woolbright, or whoever, right now it's Thomas, is in the middle, has to pay Hedens to the third option, to that middle hitter, and it spreads your block out. So you're now setting up these situations where you've got single blocks and Thomas can't commit to either pin. It's giving Princeton much better looks offensively.
It's just shown the difference in how more established the Tigers have been from first to second set. In the first one, they were running around a little bit too much. They were out of system a whole lot and allowed Harvard to take advantage.
Tough set for Birdie. I don't think I've ever seen that. The ball just
time hit entirely?
No, the ball wound up in the referee stand.
I didn't even see that. Look what I found. Do you think he gets to keep souvenirs like fans do?
He just kicked it behind me.
Oh, I wish he would have kept it.
Hard to get out of here with it.
He can sneak it.
10-point lead. Tough ball. Vina. It's a good idea. Harvard with the block. Vina was trying to just hit the absolute dickens out of the ball.
Zach Birdie getting a piece of it. Brian Thomas combining with him as well.
Gann into the middle. Excuse me, that was Kelly into the middle. And again, Ethan Wells with that opening up front.
In the MO for both these teams, and Ethan Wells has been the main beneficiary of this attack over the middle. This fights right through Birdie and Thomas.
And how many defenders were in the air? 1. Interesting route run for Sawyer Nichols. He just cut inside the middle. So Harvard changes things up front, but it's going to have to do a ton of work at this point. I credit the job that Rowan Alvear is doing right now for Princeton.
What you can do, I can also do. It's just more over the middle attacking for both these teams. And Tristan Whitfield, the most recent beneficiary of that attack strategy.
Tip your cap to 10 in orange. He is passing this offense into good spots. And then Nolan Kelly's making the right decisions.
Alvear doesn't even have the game high in digs, doesn't even have the team high in digs. He's got 7. It's been Nolan Kelly leading that category with 8, but the two of them have been combining for some exceptional defense, and that's how the Princeton Tigers offense has started.
Princeton on defense. Set point here in the second.
Really become a best of 3 now, going into sets 3 and 4, and if we're lucky, maybe a 5th.
Picking in the back row. On Werner. So Princeton will move back 4 to pass here. They're still going to go to Werner. And Princeton ties it up at 1.
It's over.
Yeah.
Birdie with the jump serve. Vina had the first touch. Mellon is dug up by the server. Back set for Nichols. Looking for a little bit more out of Sawyer Nichols right now. 5 kills, 3 errors. But a guy that can be a bell cow for this Harvard offense.
Yeah, they've been trying to give it to him. That's now his 15th attack. Just not a lot has been falling for him, but it's only a matter of time before the averages start coming to light. And hopefully in this 3rd set, the outside starts clicking a little bit more for the Crimson.
Setters in the back row. And you've got Birdie to attack out of the back row. This is a good rotation for Harvard. That's why they open it. And they'll continue to play out of it. Princeton misses wide.
Seems like in each set, a team will roar out to a good multi-point lead to start. In the 2nd set, it was Princeton coming out to a 5-2 lead after a 6-0 lead in the 1st by the Crimson. So far here, in the 3rd, Princeton now finally on board.
Birdie taking a chance. It's his first service error, the 10th by Harvard. And now Tristan Whitfield, the junior from Virginia Beach, is back. First touch by Fung. Out of system roll shot, popped up by Whitfield. Back row attack, and Birdie converts. Well, we called out the fact that he was back there. Set him up down the pipeline. The leading attack taker for Harvard tonight now has 8 kills.
Yeah, matches the game high. Him and Owen Mellon now neck and neck with 8 kills. And that backline attack hasn't worked a whole lot for Harvard in this match. It works there.
Good up by Birdie, too. It's a great start for 12 and white. Quinn Bishop with the kill.
Quinn Birdie has been the centerpiece of this Harvard offense in this 3rd set and allows Quinn Bishop to get some space on the outside and fight through the block.
Quiet bench for Crimson.
They definitely know the stake and the magnitude of what tonight could mean for this team. And they're focused, they're locked in. They want to clinch a playoff berth as soon as possible. They do not want to leave it up to chance tomorrow night.
Really good penetration. Block for Ethan Wells. Float. First and 3rd touch for Bishop. Heavy hand for Vina. You know, Princeton's middles, and Vina's playing on the pin right now, but he's a middle by trade, have been awesome lately. Wells, Vina, Whitfield, all coming off season highs last week. All have been reliable options at various points tonight.
A couple of career highs as well. Wells and Vina each with career highs in kills, 13 and 16 respectively.
Vina, good defender too. One arm up for Birdie. Bishop. Good dive by Alvear, but he overpassed it. Another good defensive move for Princeton. Gann to his middle. Up. Wolbert thought he had a kill. Gann saves it. Wolbert tip and off a hand. Harvard survives the point.
It was Rowan Alvear who was just a thorn in the side of Harvard. A couple of phenomenal digs to keep this play alive. And on the third opportunity, Owen Wolbert is just going to change the point of attack. Instead of targeting the libero Alvear, he's going to give it a soft touch over the middle, and Wells couldn't corral it.
Vino was coming in to cover the block touch and saw his life flash before his eyes as he was coming in, and the ball went right back over his head. So now Nichols. Hit to his hometown in Ana Cortez, Washington.
How hard he hits it, it can definitely travel that far.
Harvard very intent with the service pressure they're trying to put on opponents.
Air traffic control at Logan Airport just had an alert.
Albright. They got enough to deal with right now. So Quinn Bishop's service. Warner's dug up by Bishop. Birdie back in the front row. Birdie again. Heavy hammer. Alvear with the first touch. Out to the pin, and Werner wants a touch. He got one. Princeton back within two.
Rowan Alvear has just been outstanding defensively. Even if it's not necessarily a dig in the scorebook, he's just in the perfect position to keep the play alive for his teammates. And he's not getting a lot of numbers put up on the score sheet in terms of assists or digs, but he's been instrumental in Princeton keeping it a close one here in the third.
On his serve receive has been awesome. Blocked
this season, it's him and Andrew Werner who get targeted the most on serves.
Little flick over. Wolbert doing a good job playing above his shoulders. Free ball here for the Tigers. Right down the pipeline. And Princeton again clawing back. By the way, can we just talk about not only Rowan Alvear's game, best libero jersey in volleyball?
It looks real nice. I was about to say, not many times in this sport do you see jerseys or uniforms that are kind of to the mascot, to a team. He does look like a tiger. Yeah. He's got the striping to it and everything. That is one of the greatest jersey games I have seen. It is clean looking. Even with the black shorts, the black and orange striping, it is very simple but very effective. Whoever designed those, props to you.
Tied up at 8. Pivotal turning point here in the third set. Bishop out of the back row. Alvear. And did Princeton get a touch on that? It did not. And that's a shame for the effort that went into keeping that alive. Princeton misses, taking a shot on the back line.
Alvear hunting like a tiger, finding that loose ball, able to keep it alive with a nice bump on the first touch, and unfortunately the attack just sails over everyone.
I got it, you got it, nobody's got it.
Vina and Alvear get their wires crossed.
What is at stake? Princeton needs to win to stay alive in the postseason hunt. 6 teams make the EIVA championship bracket. Tip. Good block touch. That's a net touch by the ball. It's 11-8. Now this is something kind of reminiscent of the first set, where Princeton made a charge and then Harvard re-engaged. Ran away with it.
In that first set, Harvard was up 16-8. They were doubling up the Tigers, and then Princeton was able to come back, make it a 3-point difference, and then eventually Harvard woke back up again, able to seal the victory in the first set.
Good work by Sawyer Nichols to keep that alive.
I think they got themselves a real nice piece. He's only a sophomore, 2 more years left to go in his collegiate career.
Well, Schweisky said they've been playing better defense this year than they have typically. A lot of that has to do with the way that he has grown and developed. There's several pieces involved. But starts with the guy in the opposite jersey.
He's got 12 digs already tonight. 3 more than we're in second place in terms of game high. His teammate Kelly, who's gotten 9.
Thomas blocked. Mellon's dug up. Fung could not control it. Angry at himself because he got there. And Princeton making a little bit of a push out of the timeout.
This team just never says die. They have been down pretty big in multiple instances in this game, but they are not done until a team either hits 25 or beats them by 2. They are a tough, tough kill.
Again, back row, Bishop off of Alvear.
He's been exceptional, Alvear has, as long as he has support. If he's on an island out there, Harvard has been attacking him all night long. And you see he's pretty much by his lonesome out there, and he's unable to get some support from Warner, and another point for the Crimson.
Harvard was great in this rotation last time through with Birdie serving. Oh, that had to have hit the ceiling.
It 100% did. With how quickly it just shot down from the rafters in the Malkin Athletic Center, there was no chance a Crimson was able to get a touch on that. I think it may have ricocheted off the line judge's ankle as well, but either way, there was no Crimson within 5 feet of that ball.
Birdie had a great beat on it, and then whoop. Whitfield had a good run in the second set for Princeton back here. He actually was the server when Princeton pulled away. Yeah, off the arm of Vina. And this is the Princeton legacy serving. Nolan Kelly. Brother Joe, a 4-year starter for the Tigers, now works in New York City. And he will only serve once. That's Wolbert in the middle. Who in this era of untucked jerseys, because it's cool, I appreciate the clean look. Very 1980s-esque. Tight ball. Overpassed. Just a keep me alive dig. Fung with one arm keeps it up. Bishop. Good cut on the angle. Errors out of a timeout called by the other team. Mellon. Fung the first touch. Bishop. Good coverage. Princeton got fingers at the net.
And it looked like Quinn Bishop is asking for a bit of a review here, but Brian Bass is not going to concur with that wish. And just like that, the deficit cut in half, just a 2-point game.
Is it a 1-point game? Yeah, it is.
More self-inflicted wounds, like I said, a service error, now an attacking error, and add a kill in between by the Tigers, and just like that, it's a whole brand new ball game.
I don't know if Nichols was trying for high hands there. Mellon. Tough first ball. Nice view of the Malkin Athletic Center. Out of system, set to the back row. Again, to the middle, Woolbright, nice tip. He's up so early. You just kind of assume he's gonna absolutely unload.
He's 6'6", and it is remarkable just the athleticism he puts on display when he jumps over the middle. Like you said, you think he's gonna get a whole lot of power onto it, and it's no surprise that he had 4 varsity letters in basketball during his high school days over in Jackson, Ohio. It's no surprise, he could probably slam it down better than any of them.
And that's a 4th touch. I said Wolbert was definitely in the net. But a 4th touch by Princeton. Makes it a 3-point Harvard lead, and Quinn Bishop is serving. Short. That's an ace. Well, Harvard is back on the train it had in the first when it was really efficient. Popped up to Birdie. Princeton catches the tape. Back row. Wasn't quite on the money. Bishop kind of tried to guide it. Can we get Princeton over this threshold?
Feels like they've been knocking on the door at least a couple of times in this set. Just haven't been able to overtake the Crimson.
Nice window for Gann.
First time we've seen a couple of those, sending it over on 2 instead of trying to set up a powerful third touch. But a great job by Kai Gann. Doesn't have a lot of kills, just 18 this season. That's his 19th. He's got more than Shevchuk now this year. No better time for that.
And he was aggressive with it, too. He didn't just tip it over. He kind of threw it over.
A little bit dangerously close to maybe a grab or a hold there, but good job to stay within the legal limits.
But he sold it really well.
Sold me.
Now your setter's in the back row, so a 3 offensive option front. But sometimes you just wind up with that instead.
It looked like Birdie won the battle against Kelly, and the Tiger was unable to try and follow that up.
Mop up some sweat.
It's been a hot one in New England the last couple of days. Surprised they haven't been mopping it up more often.
It's a climate-controlled venue, is it not?
You never know. Sometimes it changes. Harvard's an old campus.
Although I'd be curious to see what they do at Wrigley Field in the fall. It's going to be interesting.
What are they doing to Wrigley Field in the fall?
They're playing volleyball outside.
Oh, right. I forgot. Is it Nebraska, I believe?
And they got a double header. So
yes.
They're going to play. They're going to play with the sun out.
They don't host a lot of different sporting events there besides baseball. I think it's just baseball and concerts at Wrigley, and that's about it.
Let's play football.
Football a couple of times, handful. I think they have a college football bowl game there, very similar to the Fenway Bowl.
23-19, the service for Princeton. Gann behind him for Birdie. Tough ball, good second touch to keep it alive. Thomas is up. Thomas the tip. Birdie. That's really good offense. Controlled the first ball, good serve receive. The middle was up early to attack.
That's what you practice on, and you can't execute it any better than that if you're Princeton. The problem is trying to string it together now that you're serving. And they got 4 more points.
Back to the wall here for the Tigers. And backed into a corner, unable to come out of it.
Get things started off with a serve from Kai Gann. And over the middle from the back line. Princeton able to keep it alive. Andrew Werner. There's a free ball for the Crimson to the opposite side for Nichols. Over the middle this time. Princeton gets the first point of this 4th set. Tristan Whitfield over the middle. That's his 6th kill today. And Joel mentioned it earlier, the team that gets the first point of the set ends up winning it, and Whitfield does the honors for the Tigers here. Will the Crimson respond? A little bit of a miss hit there by Brian Thomas. Gives the Tigers room to grow, and they will get the tool. Smacking it off of Birdie and out of bounds on the Tigers' side. It's 2-0 Princeton. And Princeton never knows when to say die. They have won a set in each of their last 5 games, despite losing their last 4 matches. Again, out of system are the Crimson. It's been a tale of 2 different teams for both sides. Princeton, so far in the 2nd and now 4th set, they have been the better team. It's been the team on the left side, and whoever's on the right has just struggled Harvard looking for their first point. They're going to get it. Zach Birdie is going to fight through the double block of Nolan Kelly and Ethan Wells, and the Crimson are finally on the board here in set number 4. Breezing right through it, Zach Birdie, the Corona Del Mar, California native. Powerful serve, straight on the line. They go to the outside, and another tool off of Sawyer Nichols and out. Good positioning by them, just a whole lot of power on the outside. It is now 4-1 Princeton. That was Owen Mellon with his 13th kill this evening, holding the game high. To the outside, a whole lot of oomph by Bishop. Good defense by Kelly. And finding the open spot on the floor off the great pass from Ron Alviar. He'll get a rare assist. Again, he finds Owen Mellon. Right to the outside, and Zach Birdie could not get there in time. He's out there on an island. Nolan Kelly with the serve on the back line. Bad pass, but it still works out for Quinn Bishop. A little bit of an awkward pass by Kai Gann. Works out for Quinn Bishop, cuts the deficit down to 3 for the Crimson. Now it's Brian Thomas's turn. Couple of service errors for Thomas in this one. Only 4 aces this season. Not much of a serving threat. But he gets his first ace of the day right there, 5th of the season. Put it on the board for the Crimson. They really needed that one. They cut it down to 2. And Thomas will return. Nice drive, dig by Alviar on the reception. And that was going to be rejected by Bishop, so Princeton restarts offensively. That's dug out by Birdie. You go to the far side for Nichols. Another dig by Princeton. Well, it's all for naught. No one able to follow it up, and Harvard back to within 1. Three unanswered points for the Crimson, and Thomas is going to be back to serve yet again. Off the hands of Quinn Bishop, point to the Princeton Tigers. Princeton 1-8 on the road this year. Their one road win was a non-conference win against the University of California, San Diego. That was back on March 9th. That attack goes way over everyone by Quinn Bishop. And Princeton back up by a 3 spot. Princeton had 2 different trips over to the West Coast this season. It started in mid-January. They faced UC Irvine, USC, and CUI. That's Concordia University Irvine, not to be confused with University of California Irvine. There's a kill for the Crimson. It was Owen Wolbert over the middle. Shocker. They returned to the West Coast, Princeton did, in mid-March for UC San Diego and CSUN, California State University, Northridge. They were able to beat San Diego but fall to Northridge in 4 sets. Nice dig. Sawyer Nichols just drops down and hits with both hands. Great dig. Superman diving was Alviar. Crimson back on the attack. Bishop misses everything, and he's a little bit. Special thanks to all the men and women in our technical crew operating cameras. Ford Leary, our director this evening. Thanks for spending your Friday night watching some Ivy League volleyball. Technically Ivy League. These are the only 2 Ivy League schools with men's volleyball programs, both of whom competing in the EIVA. Normally, this is the time of the night where I would give the upcoming schedule, but shocker, both these teams play each other tomorrow evening, and that does it for the regular season. And again, we got no clue what the playoff field is shaping up like. It is still anyone's game here in the last weekend of the regular season. That attack by Zach Birdie overshoots it all. And Princeton now up by a 4 spot. They are the first to 10 in this 4th set. And we were talking about it earlier, Joel and I were, and we figured this is very much a possibility that this could go 5. These are two, lack of a better term, bottom teams in the EIVA, both with a lot to fight for. Over to the opposite side, and easy pickings there for Bishop. Soft touch over the top by Nichols. Right back to work goes Whitfield. He'll get another kill. Princeton up by 5. 2025 All-EIVA first team last season with a drive on the serve. Over the middle, and Wolbert is stuffed. Tristan Whitfield. Clean solo block. The 2024 EIVA Freshman of the Year. He had 80 total blocks, averaging 1.33 per set back in 2024. He had 70 entering today. Harvard responds in kind, cutting the deficit back to within 5. It is now 12-7. See that quick set by Kai Gann for Owen Wolbert. His eyes were up, he saw the lane, and he just drove it right into that open spot on the floor, and now he's gonna serve. Drive of a serve, bad first touch. Harvard on the attack. Birdie on the outside. It was detoned by Kelly. Werner tried to attack. Here's the Crimson's turn. Second touch by Gann. He'll get another kill, his second or third one tonight. Sitting at 7 right now. He serves a strong one right to Fung. Into the corner, Brian Thomas able to pick it. Harvard just hanging around. Haven't been able to gain a whole lot of ground. But just sticking around here in the middle stages of this 4th set. This will be the last possible set where we go to 25. If you go to a 5th, once again, it's 1st to 15. They fake it over the middle, and instead they go to the outside where Owen Mellon records his 17th kill this evening. 17 kills on 30 attempts, just 1 error. Look at that, just monster slam. Harvard on the attack. Nichols can't get it to go. Fung recovers. They try again. Outside for Birdie. Did he get the tool? He did. Attacking on the outside, Zach. Nolan Kelly. No aces tonight, a floater. Over the middle and finishing Brian Thomas. Kill number 7 on attack attempt number 13. He's now hitting over 500. A real clean set by Kai Gann. Goes right to Brian Thomas, who finishes the job. A couple of ricochets at the tape. Over the top on the outside, again, Owen Mellon. He has been white hot over the latter stages of this matchup. Kill number 18 for the senior from Oakville, Ontario. His career high is 25. That was versus Dominican on February 28th. His serve skirts off the tape. Gann didn't realize it. They got 5 errors in this 4th set, hitting 174 here. You see Wolbert just skirting across the floor, trying to save it. Couldn't quite get there. And what a heads-up play. The punch for Harvard to try and draw these games out. It seems like when they get down a couple of sets early, I don't want to say they roll over and die, but it's real tough to try and reassess yourself and realign yourself mentally and try to fight back. But you got to take it one step at a time. It seems like maybe Harvard can try to get it all back at once. When you can't do that, you got to take baby steps.
Alvear is going to mop up some sweat. That is a quintessential double block.
You see a couple of bounces there on the attack from Warner. It may have gotten Birdie and Nichols, maybe Nichols more, a little bit more up high.
Long way to go for Kelly to get there.
Wilbur with a pretty nonchalant block. Didn't jump too high for that one, just got a clean hand on it. And it goes almost parallel with the netting.
And right through by Warner. Princeton is in this point where the first to get to 20, statistically, in a really good position. And they'll make a substitution to serve.
Sebastian Daste.
First time we have seen the reserve setter today. It also creates an interesting situation where both Daste and Kelly can keep you in a pretty good system here offensively. Both are playing in the back row at the moment. And there's Daste setting to the outside for Vina. Ironically, neither setter got to that one. Setter attack by Gann. Warner. Did he get a finger on it? Princeton's got a really deep bench. It carries a 21-person roster. It's going to have 23 on the roster next year. And that's a tool. Like Kyle Schwind, who went on a pretty awesome service run against Sacred Heart. Comes off the bench in big spots. Princeton now up 23-14 here in the fourth, about to force a fifth set. With its back to the wall, Princeton needs a win to keep postseason hopes alive. Caught the tape. Birdie. It was almost like a bird in the hand. Set point in the fourth. Tough ball off the tape. Good first tempo ball by Gann. That Brian Thomas right there lurking. And the 7-footer comes up with kill number 8 tonight.
He didn't even have to go overhead with that swing. He kind of just punched it forward. It was basically at eye level.
And with no margin for error here, Harvard lives to see another ball. Was somebody in the net? Yes, Princeton was in the net. Owen Mellon. Harvard lives to see another point.
Let's take a look right here. Indeed, it was stepping over was Owen Mellon. A whole foot just over the line. May have caused Brian Thomas to take a tumble.
But everything has to go right.
Chances are low, but never zero.
Got the setter in the back row here, Kai Gann. Back set. And that will do it for Princeton. Andrew Werner, when it was undefeated until Princeton took it down. Good up by Bishop. Birdie. First point here in the fifth set.
That's very crucial. The team that has scored the first point has won each set. Harvard getting that first point there, courtesy of Zach Birdie. Starting off on the right foot for the Crimson. This is the point in time now where you just block all the noise. This is what you live for. Fifth set, first to 15. If you win, you clinch a playoff berth. If you lose, you got to fight for your lives tomorrow night.
If you're Harvard, this conference is not locked in. You know, we talk about there being a clear 1-2-3. That ball was overpassed. Good joust at the net. Gann, birdie. Did he get a touch? No. Penn State is undefeated at the top of the standings, but when it has played the elite teams this year, it hasn't performed the way that Penn State has in the past. It's played Hawaii and only won one set. Penn State's also taken on Beach, got beat 3-0. USC got beat 3-0. So there's some parity here. It's not unthinkable that somebody could come from the bottom half of this bracket and make some noise.
There's a whole lot of wiggle room in this conference. And we saw it earlier. Princeton took Penn State, or technically vice versa. Penn State took Princeton to 5. They were up by 2. Anything can happen in this conference. There's a whole lot of parity, a whole lot of wiggle room over this last weekend. Nothing's going to be set tonight even. We got to wait till tomorrow to really see what the playoff field's going to look like.
Where did Kai Gann come from to run in and set that ball? He has the first touch on the bump. Little roll shot. Yes, that caught hardwood. Harvard's best set was the first. Ran away with a .406 hitting percentage. Also served really well. Down the pipeline. Bump set to the outside, and a free ball turned into a kill. I think Princeton was just trying to cycle that around and live another day, and that coffin corner was wide open.
Kai Gann thought it was going well over out of bounds, and it just dove down into that corner. Found hardwood, and good eyes by Andrew Werner to find the open spot.
Little float. Oh, off the ricochet. You don't get ready, you stay ready. And Quinn Bishop. That's now 11 for him. Birdie has 14 to lead the way.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and the ricochet goes right to Quinn Bishop, and like you said, he stayed ready right in his wheelhouse and capitalizes.
Princeton has leaned on Mellon, goes to the middle this time, and Wolbert was ready for it. One of the best blocking bigs in the EIVA. Solo stuff on his counterpart, Ethan Wells.
Yeah, it looked like the pass was a little behind Ethan Wells. Couldn't get a good strike on it over top. It was a tad behind him. Nice block by Owen Wolbert.
Now to the pin, and that is the 20th kill for Owen Mellon, his third 20-kill performance this year. USC, Dominican, and tonight. And he's coming off one of his tougher performances of the year. He only had 8 kills against Sacred Heart.
He's playing exceptionally efficient as well. Just 2 errors on 36 attempts. He's hitting 500 a day. That is rare for an outside hitter.
That's insane for an outside hitter. When you think about all the terrible sets you have to deal with, just balls that just get thrown out to you.
Usually those hitting percentages are reserved for middles.
Harvard leads by 1. Sawyer Nichols did not play the last series. He hasn't played the last 2 weeks. Harvard was on a bye last week. He is not rusty. 8 kills tonight. Gann on the bump, out to Bishop, right back to him. And Princeton mounts it up at 5. If you thought this was going to be anything other than a 1 or 2 point set, what were you thinking?
On top of the phenomenal offensive efficiency by Owen Mellon, he's got 4 total blocks, which brings his career total to an even 100. He had 96 entering today.
Going up against the right side today.
No team has had a lead of double digits in this set so far. It has been back and forth.
Tough bucket. Bishop in the back row. To the pin, solo stuff by Birdie, overpassed and it drops. That's not supposed to happen.
How in the world did that fall for Roan Alvear? There is no way this should have worked for the Princeton Tigers. Diving to his right just to keep it alive, and it goes perfectly into no man's land back on the Harvard half.
Good pass, middle, Wolbert. Alvear set it up nicely. Again, the middle. Wolbert was up. Boy, he makes himself so available. Maybe a 1980s commercial.
Old school.
Down the pick. That's a kill for Mellon. Just having an insane night.
We have not had a set go to extras.
Why you got to do that?
I'm just saying, with how this is. Playoff berth on the line, two teams fighting for their seasons right now. This has to go.
We'll do it again tomorrow. Gann, birdie.
Take another look at this replay. The Ron Alvear, just miraculous play. Dive here was right, one hand over the middle, and just no one's able to get to it. Thomas Fung was going to be the closest one to it, but Wilbur couldn't get there in time.
First of 15, Whitfields. Readjust for birdie, that drops.
Just a misplay defensively. There was 3 Tigers at the tape, and none of them could really send this back to the opposite half. It just ricochets to the right side of Nolan Kelly, and Harvard back up by 1.
It's been a good defensive day for Princeton. They have outdug Harvard. 53 digs. And Sam Schweisky said we had 55. That came back. Into the middle, Thomas. Avliar to the pin. Flung down, really good up. Princeton.
There's no way the Tigers should be able to still be alive after that. Ricocheting off the rafters. Alvear was going all the way back towards the stands to corral. It had to go back where he came from to receive it off the ceiling. And lo and behold, a couple of hits later, and Harvard just goes too far on the attack.
This is the second consecutive 50 dig performance. And Sam Schweisky said, I can't remember the last time we had 50 digs. Blocked.
Many better stat lines across a 5-set match.
Oh, he doesn't have a double-double.
That is also true.
Mellon, another kill. That is 23 for 22. Back deadlocked at 10. Princeton trying to make it 3 straight over Harvard. Gann forces it out to Bishop, and that trickles down. Jump serve, popcorn floater, over past Gann, good recovery. Nice up coming up out of the back row by Sawyer. Tried to dump that down, and in the net, yes, Harvard was. Tigers with a big front line at the moment. Gann on the move, tough set. Phenomenal job by Bishop to get out of the net. And then an absolute hammer. 2 points to a 5-set win for the Princeton Tigers. Gann outside Bishop's, had himself a ball game. Harvard running from the sword of Damocles. Bishop goes into the back row. You've got Birdie and Wolbert as your 2 front row options. Nichols plays out of the back row. Vina is rejected. Wolbert with a block.
The senior, he's playing like he wants to keep his season going in his final year. And he's leading this team by example.
Bishop's service. Back set. Vina's played well the last few weeks. Dug up that time. The block. Vina, Whitfield. It is match point Princeton.
The senior and the junior combining. I think it was Whitfield who got that touch on it.
Block number 9. Princeton has outblocked Harvard, one of the best blocking teams in the Ivy, the EIVA. for the win. Gann, Wolbert, rejected. Second effort, right back to him. Vina, nice recovery. Got a block touch on it. Wolbert feeding the big. And that's sent long. Means no libero on the floor for Harvard. Tough defensive alignment. Push it back out to Birdie. Gann, first one there. Birdie keeps it alive. Free ball. Middle wants it. Whitfield's a decoy. And off the fingertips, it's match point Princeton again. The regular season finale tomorrow. Overpassed, thrown down. Princeton lives. The Tigers on the road in 5.